recording. Okay, I get the questions from viewers all the time who basically ask me questions about how to start a business, and I received a question from a guy named Ed who we've communicated with for a while now, and he basically asked, how do I make a good business? And that's a really, really open-ended question, but basically you have some decisions to make if you want to go into business these days. And the key decision you have to make is, am I going to have a business in the real world, or am I going to have a business in the cyber world? In other words, it's going to be an internet business. And I know that more and more businesses will cross over to those two boundaries and include bits and pieces of both. But for now, let's just consider what I call an old world business, where you used to have a corner store or a little factory or anything else, versus an internet-based business. And if you think about it, it's only really in the part. This is 2008 as I speak this post, as we're recording this. It's only been the last 2 or 3 years really that distinction between the two types of businesses was really able to be made for the mainstream person in the street. So if we're going to look at real world businesses, you've probably got 3 major options. You can either make something, sell something, or you can service something. And by that I mean you could basically have a factory type business where you're manufacturing or farming, or a primary industry or a secondary business or a tertiary business where you're actually manufacturing something and selling it to somebody else who may end up selling it to somebody else. Now, the sell something type of business is in fact that you're a middleman. You're buying something made from somebody by somebody else, or maybe you're selling something you've created yourself that you're not actually manufacturing. It could be an information product, maybe a report, maybe a video like this, but one you're going to put on CDs and sell to people. So you're selling something and packaging them. Or you're in the service industry where you're helping servicing other people. You're helping them to do one of those two types of businesses. So you're an accountant and you're helping people who are manufacturing or selling to keep manufacturing, keep selling. Or you're in finance or any other sort of type of service business. That's the type of businesses you have to think about in the real world. Well, in the cyber world, you've also probably got 3 types of businesses. And of course, you've got those 3 types I spoke about in the real world. In the cyber world, you can also be making things and selling them via the internet, selling stuff via the internet, or servicing things. But in the cyber world, the internet world, we've really got 3 other major distinctions. And the 3 types of businesses you can have on the internet are what I call advertising sites. So that's places like MySpace, Facebook, many portal type sites, many sites where they just basically run by advertising. Most of the blog sites are advertising sites. Ustream, who's hosting this, is an advertising type of site. They make their revenue by making the platform available and running advertising. You can have a subscription site. So subscription or membership site is where somebody joins up, pays a joining fee, and you give them whatever it is that you're going to give them, usually information over a period of time. So think about a blog or a site like this where I produce a video every week, but instead of coming here to get it for free, you subscribe and you get to see the videos as they're produced by paying that membership fee. Or you can have a sales site, which is eBay or any other site where you're selling something on the internet. So it could be an internet retailer like Amazon.com on the extreme end, or it could be like birdcage.com where it's a couple of guys who buy, wholesale all sorts of funky bird cages and sell them online. So those are 3 types of cyber businesses that you can have. Now, whether you choose an internet business or a real world business, and which of those 3 types you choose for each of those 3 businesses, you have to make a choice. And the choice you have to make is, you have to decide if you're looking to make income from those businesses or you're looking to make a big hit at the other end. And why is that a choice? You would think they're one and the same, and I say generally not. For instance, you can open up an eBay business and you can make yourself very successful in eBay, but it is an income-based business because it's very unlikely that you'll be able to sell that for megabucks to anybody else. It's basically a business that you'll run until you get sick of it and you'll make income along the way. Whereas other sites like Facebook, even though they're advertising-based businesses, are obviously worth a lot more to the next person who's going to buy it for other reasons than they're actually worth to the person who owns Facebook. So if you look at the multiples of how Facebook is valued, the advertising revenue that they get in barely covers the costs of the staff they run. Maybe they make a profit. I certainly know that MySpace wasn't making much money, but they're worth a lot more because they're perceived value, strategic value to other people. So that's really the type of businesses you have to decide. Are you after a business that's going to make you some extra income, or you're after a business that has some strategic value? And to my mind, it all boils down to whether you're going to be running your business part-time or whether it's the way you're going to choose to make a big number. So if you decide that you're going to make, $5-10 million, you want to make it in 5 or 10 years, then you have a compound growth rate to get there in your investments of greater than 50%. You have no choice but to go for a business that's going to grow big, and that you can sell it to somebody else, not for what it's worth, but for strategic value to them. So that means that you really need to, and I'm not telling you how to, Ed, who asked the question, I'm not telling you how to make a business of any sort. As I've said, I can only give you some suggestions of areas to look. You really have to think up the idea for the business yourself. But if this is the way you want to get rich, then you really need to think about a business that you can generate some IP or that you can expand very, very quickly. So think about that. The best businesses in the world have got some secret sauce that you come up with. And everybody is intelligent. We all come up with $1 million idea almost every single day. That's according to Victor Kiam, the Remington razor guy, whose byline always was, I like the company so much I bought it. He used to walk around with a brown paper notepad, a legal notepad, write down ideas every single day. And what separated him from everybody else is that he actually did all those ideas. But he said that everybody comes up with $1 million idea almost every single day. Now, I don't know if that's absolutely true, but it's certainly true in my experience that I've come up with maybe $100 million ideas, but I've only pursued 2 or 3 of them, and certainly made multi-millions from most of them. So when you're looking for that thing, you've got to come with what you think is a multi-million dollar idea, and it comes from 2 ways. One, as I said, is by having some intellectual idea, some breakthrough. So like the guy who created Facebook, the guy who created the first version, MySpace. And in fact, not MySpace, it was Friendster, the first social network. And MySpace really took over from there, and Facebook took over from there. But basically, they had an idea about how they were going to approach a marketplace. So the guy who created Friendster had the breakthrough of creating a social network. So that IP is worth something, because some large corporate large corporate companies can't necessarily create those ideas, but they certainly love to buy them. Now think about the guy like Facebook. He didn't come up with any new ideas. That already existed. MySpace and Friendster had done it before, but what he did was he got to the colleges. So he took that idea and he accumulated real estate, as in he got into all the colleges and got Facebook very popular in the colleges, and because of that it expanded elsewhere, and now a large corporate company, Microsoft obviously, has bought a stake in that because they want to get into that marketplace, and anytime he wants to sell that to Rupert Murdoch or float on the stock market, he'll make a lot of money because he's got that real estate tied down. Another friend of mine was putting ATMs, those automatic telling machines, in Australia, a very small country. He started putting ATMs into little 7-Eleven stores and other places where the banks weren't putting their machines. And because him and 4 partners went out and did the hard work of getting those sites, they managed to get 1,000 ATMs out in the marketplace in just 2 years. And that business grew from 0 to 1,000 machines in 2 years, and the bank bought them for $16 million. Only because they did the hard work of expanding the business very quickly in a way the corporate couldn't. So look for a business that you can put IP into, that somebody will pay you money for, or that you can expand very quickly, or obviously combine the two. That's how to make a good business.